Only been talking for a minute. Hey, let's do this again. I really got to get better at not muting myself. Um, I haven't really said anything that important just yet. Uh, but anyway, welcome to St. Mark's Live. I'm Pastor Adam Thomas, and I am coming to you today with the very sad news of the death of a beloved parishioner, Michael Meyer. Mike was absolutely instrumental in bringing the Godly Play program here to St. Mark's. Um, let's see. There we go. Okay, I'm back on there. Mike was just the most amazing person, just in all facets of life. Specifically here at St. Mark's, his work with our youngest children in helping to form their theological and spiritual imaginations through the wonder of Godly Play was truly an inspiration. And Godly Play has been near and dear to my heart for a very long time. And it was one of the reasons that I felt called to come here to be the rector of St. Mark's, knowing that this church was already steeped in the language and the tradition of Godly Play. Made me very excited to look here when I was applying for new positions. So Mike's bringing Godly Play here is one of the things that got me here as well. And so today, to, in a very small way, honor Mike's memory, I thought that I would share a Godly Play story with you. But before we do that, I think what we are going to do is just talk a little bit about where Godly Play comes from and what it is. And I will share that as from my position as a former board member of the Godly Play Foundation, which is the organization that promotes Godly Play and creates and promotes Godly Play here in the United States. I was on that board for a couple of years, and a lovely experience. Wonderful, wonderful people to work with. Godly Play was created several decades ago by an Episcopal priest, Jerome Berryman, and it uses the Montessori tradition as its foundation. And the main driver of Godly Play is the idea that children already know God. Children know God in a way that adults have forgotten God. What children don't have is the language system with which to try to speak about God. And so what Godly Play does, using various different tactics, is inculcate in children a specific way of speaking about God, about the Bible, about how God is present both in the biblical tradition and also in our world today, in our own lives, in the life of the church, in tragedy, in joy, in lots and lots of different ways that life can present itself. So we invite children into a particular way of speaking about God, and it all surrounds the concept of wonder. In Godly Play, we share stories with children and adults, if we're sharing a story with adults, as I assume I'm doing with you. We share these stories, and we share them over and over again as children get older. And the goal is, as children age, their development allows them to enter into the same stories in new and deeper ways. At the end of each story, and the stories are told very simply and very quietly and very deliberately. At the end of those stories, we ask questions, and the questions are very carefully written. They are all open-ended questions. There is no yes/no question. There is no right or wrong answer to a question. They all begin with "I wonder." And so when we say "I wonder," we open up for the children their imaginations, and we give them permission to engage in with the story in whatever way they feel comfortable engaging, or whatever way is really touching them in that moment. And this is a very different model than say you might have grown up with, where the Sunday school might have been more content driven, like we had to learn these Bible verses, we're going to learn this, we're going to learn this. In Godly Play, it's much more story driven, where we are in a circle together sharing a story, which is a very primal human need, because we make meaning through story sharing. And Godly Play is all about making meaning of our lives by connecting our lives back into the tradition of the Bible and of the liturgical expression of the church, and so on. And also the wonderful presence of silence. There are actually 4 types of Godly Play stories. There are sacred stories, which tend to comprehend the what we call the Old Testament. There are parable stories, one of which I'm going to share with you this morning. And then there are liturgical actions, where we talk about what we do during church. And then the last type of story is silence, where we actually are able to enter in and dwell with God in a way that is very different than any other way we might dwell. If you have any questions about Godly Play specifically, you can go ahead and put them in the chat, and I'll take a look over there at some point during the morning. This story that I'm going to share is the parable of the Good Shepherd. It's really the proto Godly Play story. It's the story that got it all started. I'm sharing this story this morning as a small tribute to Mike Meyer, who did so much for the spiritual imaginations for our children here at St. Mark's. He is going to be sorely, sorely missed. And at the same time, his legacy in imagination and in care and in love for our youngest members will continue to reap benefits for years and decades to come. All right, so I'm just going to take a quick sip of water, and then we're going to share the story of the parable of the Good Shepherd. Okay. If we were in the Godly Play classroom, we would be sitting on the floor in a circle. But right now we can just imagine that we're in a circle together. I would say, watch where I go, so you will always know where to find this lesson. And I would go over to a shelf, and I would pick up this box and bring it back, so that if a child later on during their work time, because play is children's work, they would know where to go to get the story if they wanted to look at it themselves. But for now, I just have the story sitting in front of me, so we will start it right there. Look at this. It is the color gold. There must be something precious inside. Perhaps there's a parable inside. Parables are even more valuable than gold. So maybe there is one inside of this box. The box is also closed. There is a lid on this box. Sometimes, even if we are ready, we can't get inside a parable. But parables are like that. They are hard to enter, and sometimes they stay closed. To go inside, you really need to be ready. This box, it looks like a present. Well, parables are presents. They were given to you a long time ago, even before you were born. Even if you don't know what a parable is, the parable is already yours. You don't have to buy them or get them in any other way. The parable already belongs to you. I have an idea. Let's look inside and see what's there. I wonder what this could be. Whew. It is certainly green. Green, green, green. There's nothing here but green. Maybe it could be one of those things a frog sits on in a pond. Maybe let's see. Maybe a green tablecloth. Maybe a leaf from a really, really big tree. Do you think it's green on both sides? I wonder. Yeah, there's nothing here but green. Well, let's put it in here. So that can be the beginning of our story. What else do we have in our box here? Well, we have I wonder what this could be. It's blue. You can see it there. Could it be a mirror? I could see my face in it, maybe. Well, let's put it here. Oh yeah, perhaps it could be water. We have a few more things in our box here. Oh, looks like we have 3 of these. Probably can't see them against my jacket. There's no light in these at all. I wonder what they could really be. I wonder what could be so deep that light can't get in. Sometimes people who are sitting on a certain side of the circle see a face in there. All right. Let us see what else is in our box here. Wonder what this could be. One of those stretchy bands that you could wrap around things. Or maybe a thin chocolate bar. Perhaps a path. Look, if I use a second one, now we have a path that we can walk down the middle. Oh, there's a few more of these in here. Put one like this. And now, if I put one here, Oh, look at that. Now we have an inside and an outside. Hmm. Hmm. Maybe we can make a gate. Let's make a gate here. Let's make a gate here. So if you were on the inside, you can go outside. And if you're on the outside, you can go inside. Wonder what that could be. Could be a house. Perhaps it's a place for animals. I wonder who lives there. Oh, it's a place for sheep. I wonder how many sheep there are. Could there be this many? Or maybe this many? Or maybe this many? Or maybe many more? There was once someone who said such amazing things and did such wonderful things that people followed him. As they followed him, they asked him who he was. And once, when they asked him who he was, he said, "I am the Good Shepherd." I know each of my sheep by name. When I take the sheep from the sheepfold, they follow me. I walk in front of the sheep to show them the way. I show them the way to the good green grass. And I show them the way to the cool, clear, still water. And when there are places of danger, I show them how to go through. I count each one as the sheep go inside. One, two, three. If one of the sheep is missing, I would go anywhere to look for the lost sheep. In the grass, by the water, even in the places of danger. And when the lost sheep is found, I would put it on my back, even if it is heavy, and carry it back safely to the sheepfold. When all the sheep are safe inside, I am so happy that I can't be happy by myself. So I invite all my friends, and we have a great feast. This is the ordinary shepherd. When the ordinary shepherd takes the sheep from the sheepfold, he does not always show the way. And the sheep scatter. They wander. When the wolf comes, the ordinary shepherd runs away. But the good shepherd stays between the wolf and the sheep, and would even give his life for the sheep so they can go back safely to the sheepfold. Now, I wonder if these sheep have names. Maybe this one is Tracy. This one could be Barbara. Oh, maybe this one is Michael. I wonder if the sheep are happy inside this place. I wonder where this place could really be. I wonder if you have ever come close to such a place. I wonder if you have ever found the good green grass. I wonder if you've ever drank from the cool, clear, still water. I wonder if you've ever had to go through a place of danger. I wonder how you got through. I wonder if you have ever been lost. I wonder if you have ever been found. I wonder if the Good Shepherd has ever called your name. I wonder where this whole place could really be. Here is the Good Shepherd. Here are the sheep. Here is the sheepfold. And the dark places grass. Thank you for sharing this parable with me this morning. It's been my pleasure to share with you the parable of the Good Shepherd. As you go forth this day, I wonder if you hear that voice of the Good Shepherd calling your name. That was the parable of the Good Shepherd. And if you're wondering if children can sit still during something so quiet, the answer is yes. Think about Mr. Rogers. And Mr. Rogers put on a show that was very quiet, very introspective, and the effect of his demeanor and his obvious care and devotion to the children to whom he's speaking draws children in. If you show children something very loud with lots of motion and color and explosions and so forth, then they're going to be loud and jumpy. And if you bring them into a story that is quiet and you, as the storyteller, are focused on it and you are paying attention to what you're doing, then they also are drawn in. Now, not all the time, of course, there's going to be some wiggles. But it's amazing what happens when a story begins, especially for children who have a long history with godly play. They lean in and they participate. And it's so different from their normal culture and their normal mode of being that it is teaching them something completely new and completely different than anything else they're learning. That's why it's so special. And again, we in godly play, we begin with that premise that children already know God. And what we're teaching them is a language system and a way of being able to speak about how God is present in their lives. If this were a normal session of godly play, we would move from the story to what's called work time, in which children can do anything they want in response to what they just heard, be it art or some sort of play or playing with the story or a different story or merging stories together, really any way that they feel touched to move about that room and explore. And following that, we have something called feast time, where they sit in a circle and they say a prayer, and then they share some graham crackers or other, small food. And in a way, then, the godly play lesson as a whole mirrors and mimics a church service, an Episcopal service of Holy Eucharist, where we begin with the liturgy of the Word, that would be the story. And then the work time is sort of like the sermon. And then we have the prayers and the feast, which is like communion. And so within that context of the godly play lesson, the children are learning the beats of a church service, an Episcopal service of Holy Communion. And then, at least the way that we practice it here at St. Mark's, the children do come up and share communion with everybody else in what they call big church. But they've already heard their story. They've already had their liturgy of the Word in their sermon in the godly play lesson. And so godly play works on so many different levels. And my children have a copy of the godly play story that I just shared with you at our house. And they know it. They can tell that story by heart, and it's fabulous and amazing to hear them share it, because that tells me is that um, they have integrated that story into them, which means they have pieces of scripture inside them. Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The parable of the lost sheep, where there are 99 and the shepherd goes and looks for the one that is lost. And then, of course, the story of the good shepherd from John chapter 10, in which Jesus says, I call the sheep by name and they hear my voice. And the shepherd will lay down his life for the sheep. And I came that they may have life and have it in abundance. And so while we might not be memorizing passages of scripture or verses, memory verses or this or that, there's so much scripture inside the Godly Play stories that is integrating inside of people in ways that they might not even realize at the time. And Godly Play is not the kind of thing that you necessarily see results from right away. But as you watch a child develop over the years, you see that their language system includes a lot of the things that they learned in Godly Play. Because we're not trying to this isn't capitalist or consumerist. This is about having children learn a particular way of being in the world. And I can't think of a better way of doing that than Godly Play. And so I thank Mike Meyer from the bottom of my heart for bringing Godly Play here to St. Mark's. And I hope that you enjoyed the story this morning. Let's see. Oh, wonderful. Thank you all for your comments. And sorry about the technical difficulty. There wouldn't be a stream without a little bit of technical difficulty at the beginning. We're going to end here today, and I look forward to seeing you all on Sunday morning on our live stream for morning prayer at 9 a.m. God bless.